And welcome to the ThroBak Guitar Lounge Podcast, episode number 63. Coming to you from a remote guitar lair of my own, offsite this week. But the show will go on.
You're at the Matthew Quail Guitar Lounge?
Yes, you see? This vintage Strat there, that has ThroBak pickups in it.
Oh my. It's a vintage Strat?
Well, no, it's not a vintage Strat. It's one of the American reissue. It was a Hot Rod American reissue, I think.
That's right. I sold you that.
You sold me that. I don't have a card for the pickups, though, John, so I don't know what's in it exactly. We'll have to authenticate it maybe live on the show.
I think it's a 64 set.
Because they were in that. I think it is a hot bridge, yeah, but it's 64. Probably makes sense. It's a nice guitar. But it's a regular show. It's a weird setup, but we're going to get through it. But a regular show. So I don't know if you've anything else you want to talk about.
Matthew is having work done at his construction work done at his house. And if anyone's ever had that done, they know it's best to be there. So
I had a huge gaping hole in my TV area, and I have 4 cats, so I had to wrangle those cats, keep them away from running away.
All right. Well, you're doing good work there.
It could have been a cat prison break movie.
Yeah, it could have been. Okay, we've got treat of the week. Should I reveal those right now? Now, Matthew, you were going to miss out on these on the show.
But I've had some already.
But you had some prior to the show.
Yes.
Prior to your exit from the ThroBak, the ThroBak Guitar Lounge studio. Okay, so let's see.
We got to talk about. You got to talk about the treat of the week.
Oh yeah, well that's right. I guess I'll start eating them. The treat of the week is these are Bonnie's, Todd's better half Bonnie
made these. These are
apple butter cookies, and they're good.
No, I had
kind of cinnamony sort of. I would describe them as sort of snickerdoodle-ish.
Yeah.
But with a sort of little softer. I would assume because the apple butter.
I think they're appropriate because this past week we've had some cool weather that has sort of come in, sort of a precursor to fall. So maybe an apple butter cookie is a good thing to eat.
I don't want to say about fall.
I know, but it's definitely in the air this week.
I know. It's getting cooler.
Cool. But it's going to go back up.
Last week was smoke from Canada and hot weather.
Yeah, and now it's 50 degrees, high 40s sometimes in the morning the last couple of days. So it's been cooler.
Okay. Matthew assures me he's got the show under control as sort of the MC of the ThroBak Guitar Lounge. So you've got ThroBak. This is going to be a regular show.
This is going to be regular.
We've got the ThroBak Mailbox. We got pickups of the week.
Yeah.
This week I'm going to do the Rorschach riffs.
That's a change.
And you've got your musical musings, Matthew.
That's right.
And but for right now you have got the ThroBak Mailbox. And
you got some. I'll take that away.
What do you have first?
So going back to the last show where we talked, or like 2 shows ago maybe, we talked about one great guitar versus multiple guitars. People seem to like that topic.
Are you tapping on your keyboard, Matthew?
I'm tapping on the keyboard to find I've got to find my.
Okay, I just wondered what the noise was. That's fine.
I can't hear it.
This is the first time we've done the Matthew remote in his at-home guitar lounge. And we've determined we need to get a studio mic for him. So, but it's turning out it's working pretty well. Okay, all right, go ahead, Matthew. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Okay, so people responded to the idea of having one great guitar or multiple guitars that would cover various different genres or different sounds. So one person responded saying, "I'd rather have one perfect guitar. Here's the problem, though." That guitar does not exist and never will.
That's a good point.
The best you'll ever get out of one guitar is it does one thing great, and that can be worth it. A Les Paul can only be the best Les Paul, for example.
That's a good point.
Getting kind of meta here, he said, but hope it makes sense. Yeah, I know what he means. You sort of think, oh, do I need all these guitars? What if I just had one guitar? You watch some of these country guys. I was watching some video of these guys that, they're just dedicated to the Telecaster, and they can kind of do everything on that guitar. You're sort of kind of jealous of them. But people responded to it. I think most people came out with it thinking they'd rather have a variety of instruments, because you tend to get stuck in a rut with one, and the different shape of the neck or the different sound sort of makes you kind of push your playing a little bit.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of it's kind of just having sort of a fresh instrument. Well, that's different enough. It will kind of make you play just a little bit differently, and it can kind of make you feel a little bit more enthusiastic about. Well, it's part of the enthusiasm and fun of playing a guitar is that you get to try different ones, I think.
Yeah,
one's great. It's great to have, if you're going to have one really good one's the way to go, or one that you really like the way it plays. But yeah, the commenter is right. There is a certain tone that is that each of these guitars will sort of excel at. You can get a variety out of all of them, and they'll all do very good cleans and very good sort of fatter tones with the right pedal and amp and everything. But every one of these guitars does have their signature sound. So you're missing out on the best that these other ones have to offer if you're just with one. Doesn't seem right. Yeah. I think I agree with him. Or her. Was it a him or a her? Do you remember? We don't know from
most of them, they have funny, tag names. You can't really tell, but based on our client base, I would think it's probably
it's overwhelmingly men. Although we do get women that call to order pickups. The last one I remember was a jazz musician. It was a woman.
So summing this sort of whole topic up, this person I think captured said another comment said, a person should shoot for 25 to 30 guitars, so you can explore the variation.
That's a good start.
That's a good start. That's what Jon would say. Explore the variations of each favorite model, mood a player might need, and explore every set with a set of ThroBak pickups.
That sounds like the perfect plan.
And it said, and also you need at least 20 amplifiers. So
20. I'm feeling that I need fewer and fewer all the time. There's a maintenance aspect to the amp that's different. Than a guitar. I mean, the guitar requires Yeah. I bought a 80. It's an 81 silver face Princeton reverb. So the last of that era of that style of Princeton reverb before they went to the Princeton Reverb 2. And I got it at Guitar Center. Managed to chisel them down on the price because it didn't work when they said it did. Luckily, I got it to work with just changing the capacitors. But that's one of the electrolytic capacitors. But that's one of the things with a tube amp.
Right.
It requires a level of maintenance that is has an expiration date. It's good that it can be maintained, but it's not like a guitar in the sense that the guitar requires kind of adjustment due to wear of the frets or humidity changes, but it's more like sort of unless it's some catastrophic problem, it's kind of minor tweaking.
You're right,
and
it still plays, just not as well, kind of.
Yeah, I think I'd be happy with a Silverface Vibrolux Reverb if I just had one amp and the right pedals. I think it would do everything I wanted. Now I would want a Marshall too, and I'd want a Mesa Boogie Mark II C Plus, but that would be it. A Deluxe Reverb's always nice to have because it's like, it's a nice 112 combo, but other than that, you're good. And it would be, of course, you might want a smaller output amp like a Princeton Reverb, but once you got that, you're good.
Did you ever, that's what you say now, did you ever own a Roland chorus amplifier?
No, the first time, okay, so when I started playing electric guitar, I had no clue what I just knew that a Strat and a Les Paul were kind of like the guitars that were the signature guitars of Fender and Gibson for electric. So I thought I need one of those. And for amps, I knew that Fender and Marshall were kind of the ones, but what was your question again?
Did you ever own a Roland chorus?
Roland. Okay. So I was looking at what at the time was the Musician's Friend catalog equivalent. Okay. This is before Musician's Friend. It was the Music Emporium. The catalog looked exactly like Musician's Friend, more or less. Oh. But they had the Rivera line of Fender tube amps, and they had the Princeton, or not the Princeton, the Jazz Chorus. They were inexpensive at the time. In fact, so inexpensive, I kind of thought, is there something, it seemed too good to be true. I think Fender was pricing them too low at the time. But the Roland Jazz Chorus was actually super reasonable, and but it was like this big 12-inch speaker amp, and I knew it didn't have tubes. So I thought, I knew enough to know that a tube amp is what people are supposed to get, is what I thought at the time. Still do, more or less. But
so you just said,
especially at that time, that was the thing to get,
right?
Because there weren't any really great solid state amps that I'm aware of. So
right. You said a while back that Fender was putting the price too low. Did you mean Roland was putting the price?
Well, Roland was very inexpensive, but I just remember both Roland and Fender amps.
Fender, okay.
Tube amps being very inexpensive relative to other stuff, and I thought they were. I just thought that. Also, I was so ignorant about kind of what to do with an amp,
right?
That. You'd see Fender amps that had just one volume knob, and I'm like, how do you get distortion out of this? And then at the time, the only thing that was available was a big muff pedal. In fact, the first amp I got was a solid state. Actually, I thought I needed a tube amp, but I ended up getting a solid state Spectra amp, that had a master volume, and it actually wasn't too bad. It was 112 amp. I think Spectra was sort of a Dean Mark. Well, somehow I think it was associated with Dean Markley, an overseas brand for Dean Markley.
Okay.
But when I got that, the guy sold me a big muff pedal also. But the people don't remember at that time, which would have been like 1982. Boss pedals were super expensive. 283 Boss pedals were super expensive, and there wasn't anywhere close to the variety of distortion pedals. MXR pedals were very expensive too. In fact, MXR was, my recollection, was kind of beyond what I could reasonably afford. And so if you had a Fender amp and you weren't cranking the thing up, you were kind of like, what do you do with this thing? Okay.
You said you saw a Fender amp with just one knob, period?
No. Like a Deluxe Reverb, it has volume knob, but not a master volume knob.
I thought you were seeing a bunch of old Tweed amplifiers.
No. But there were a lot of blackface and and Silverface amps that were available used. Mainly Silverface. I don't know what the numbers are, but there's still today seems to be a lot more Silverface amps around at reasonable prices. There were then too. In fact, I think Rainbow even might have had some new still on the floor when I started
showing up.
Yeah, started playing electric guitar.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, because I think they stopped making the Silverface amps in '81.
I think that's right.
And so I think I started playing or taking lessons in '82. I think they probably had some still around that were new.
Oh yeah, I think so. Like, easily.
Yeah.
There's one other person this is an unrelated comment to what we're talking about here, but they said we talked about the L5 guitar and the scale of that guitar, and this person said it was 25 and is 25 and a half inch.
That's scale. What I thought. I thought that those larger jazz models were 25 and a half.
They do look a little.
I know the Birdland's sort of an oddity in that it's a little shorter than 24 3/4.
Right.
And it's sort of a jazz model. Okay.
You're not tempted to get one of the not custom shops, but Les Paul customs that they're now coming out with a 25 and a half inch. Seems they look a little weird. I must admit, they look a little.
It seems odd.
It's only 3/4 of an inch, but it seems.
Well, it changes the string length, and that does change the tone.
Yeah,
it's going to be a little. I think it would be a little brighter and on the. A little brighter sound overall. It's going to change the way the string tension feels also.
Oh yeah.
I did mention that the Epiphone Texan I have, it does make a big difference that is a longer scale than a J50 or a J45. It sounds better in an acoustic, I think. I think if you like a J45 or J50, you'd love a good Epiphone Texan.
And how much longer is it? Just a little bit, like 3/4, less than an inch, sort of thing.
I don't know. It may be 25 and a half. Someone else will know, I'm sure. Yeah. But it's a little longer scale.
Cool.
Yeah, it gets it sort of closer to Martin territory, but still different by quite a bit. But it has the low end projects more. And just the strings overall project more with the longer scale with the Texan, I find. Okay, is that it for the ThroBak Mailbox, Matthew?
That's it for this week.
Okay, I am going to go. Now, so we're going to go to Pickups of the Week. Let's see here. And I'm just going to grab the guitar. It's right here. It's sitting where you are, Matthew. Where you would be normally.
Where I'd normally be, sure.
Yeah.
So what have you got this week?
So these pickups are now befitting the 63rd episode. This is the 63S style set that we make. ThroBak 63 Strat set. Cool. Let me get to the picture here of the guitar. So this is a 60s made in Mexico, an older Mexican made Mexico 60s Strat, and these are really nice. Have a bit of a following, I think, but they have the 63 ThroBak 63 Strat set in them, which is 6.6 bridge, 6.3 neck and middle. Now, Matthew's not here to play bass. So I have arranged to have the ThroBak backing track minus the lead guitar lines play back here, and we will give that a shot to demonstrate these wonderful pickups.
Now what are you going to be playing through today so everybody knows? Okay,
we're playing through a Deluxe Reverb here with these settings below there. This is a photo. The settings here on this is a 1979 Deluxe Reverb, maybe an 80. I got to check the transformers, but it's the last sort of iteration of these things before they went to the Rivera era stuff. Volume's slightly over 2. Treble's about 5.5. Bass 6. Reverb is through the aux box. And the pedal is Nobels ODR1, the gold edition here with these settings. Again, if you, the gold edition of the ODR1, Nobels ODR1, no longer available, but if you wanted the same thing, but with a overdrive capability, it would be the ODR1X, which also has that bass trim pod. So, okay, Matthew. Are you ready to not play bass?
I'm ready to listen intently.
Okay, I'm going to play along to what I recorded, but I just winged it. So this may not work, but here we go. Okay.
It's very good.
I think that sort of worked. I haven't played this guitar a lot. And so we were talking about the maintenance of the guitar.
Right.
I think the action's a little low. I'm fretting out a little bit.
Too low.
I'm a little low on the strings here. This thing usually resides on the wall over here. So I was fretting out a little bit there on the upper strings. But Okay.
Now, what magnets are in those pickups now?
These have, this has Alnico 5 magnets. We have two versions of Alnico 5. One version we custom order from Thomas and Skinner. That's what's in these pickups. We have another version of Alnico 5 that we order from Arnold. The Thomas and Skinner are a little fatter sounding. That's kind of a very, I don't know. It's a little more complex than that, but they seem to work well in these Strat sets we have. One reason is too that the formulation is of this era, and these are tumbled like the magnets that you would get in a vintage 63 or 64 Strat. So these are the magnets in here, but the Alnico 5 is, that's what's going to be in your 63, 64 era Strat. In fact, any Strat for that matter, with the exception of the very first year of the Stratocaster, which is, Matthew?
1954.
Yes, and those would be Alnico 3. There's a little bit of crossover there, I think, into 55 also. But we actually have those magnets too on the list of things to add to the ThroBak product line. And the Project 457. Did I get the right number right there? The 457 winder, Matthew? That's correct, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I believe that's right. 457.
Still got to finish the page for that. Been many sort of like summer diversions that are slowing down this stuff. But anyway, okay, but that again is in the works. People have asked about that. All right, Matthew, are we going to go to the Guitargument here?
Yep.
Okay, let's let me mute my guitar here. I'll just take this off and sit right over here. Okay.
Now we're going to do a lightning round because
yes, the lightning round. Matthew is proclaimed the lightning round is the way to do it this week, so that's what we shall do.
So we'll probably do it. We'll do a number of issues.
He has the limited resources of his at-home guitar lounge, so we'll do the lightning round here. Okay, are you ready, Matthew? Let's go.
Okay.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I will. The first one here: should every serious guitarist own a tube amp?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not even going to argue about that because it's obviously true.
I think
you're not getting the full range of you're not getting the full experience. You're getting to experience the full range of the most important, arguably, tones of the electric guitar, which are tube amp tones.
Well, the real question should be: should every serious guitar player then have a guitar layer? Because you need to turn that thing up somewhere.
You're right. That's a good question. Now, Matthew, your wife has a sewing room over there, or sewing lair.
Yeah.
Is the square footage divided equally between your guitar lair and her sewing room lair?
Well, I don't have a particular area for guitars, but I have guitars probably in too many places, even for my liking. So,
well, is there equality in this realm?
Probably not. So.
Now, my wife has a dollhouse lair, and I argue that the dollhouses are a problem in terms of storage. That they have a storage problem that the guitars do not have. The guitars are electric guitars wafer thin. They come contained in a nice little package that keeps them clean.
It's true.
You can stack them like cordwood.
You're right.
You put them just about everywhere, and they'll But a dollhouse, it's like a dust magnet. It's got all these nooks and crannies, and it's like it's got to be displayed somewhere. The guitar is a much more efficient use of space, I think.
Do you keep the dollhouse under plexiglass?
No, I think she puts like a sheet over it. She needs to. That's the thing. It's a tricky thing to display because really, ideally, like if you go to, is it the Museum of Science and Industry that has this big dollhouse display in Chicago, or is that the Art Institute?
The Art Institute has those little miniature rooms down in the basement area.
Yeah, and you
just kind of look in.
One of them has the collection from a silent film era actress.
Oh, really?
That it's very elaborate.
These are doll houses.
It's the doll houses, yeah, and everything's handmade in them. But that's all under plexiglass. Yeah, they got to be like protected from dust, and they're fragile little objects. Okay, so next one. Are we ready for the next one here, Matthew?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I should have thought some up. I could read them to you.
Yeah. Oh well.
Maybe I can still do one. Go ahead.
Is owning this is owning one guitar better than 10 average ones. That's a variation on what we already did.
Get that one out of there.
Okay. Now we've sort of done this before. Do guitar influencers have too much power? Did you know? I think Red Scholl has recently released a thing that he's done with Fenders.
I watched that. I did watch that this week.
He's gives all of the alternatives that are better than Fenders.
Yeah, he compares at 3 different tiers what the alternative is that you should go for. Now he still says he has, I believe, a custom shop Telecaster that he likes, but he said, "Well, we're not really focusing on Fender." He and then he doubles down again, saying that Fender needs to to apologize and to do a mea culpa and to sort of stop the madness. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting they've gone to war against Yamaha. I mean, you think if anybody who's got money, it's Yamaha.
Yeah.
They're the.
It's not a good move. It doesn't seem, does it?
No. I think I watched another video from Europe, and none of these guys are legal experts, but I think their thought is that, well, based on the ruling that these courts are making, Fender might have a case. What's the name of the famous attorney, and is he in New Jersey or New York? Who Ron? What's his name? He won. He won against Fender in 2009, and with the first one.
5 minutes.
But he's written an article saying 5-6 reasons why Fender will not succeed in their copyright claim. So.
Well, the argument too that he leaves out of the guitars to buy used Fenders.
Yeah,
I mean, I personally think that the quality kind of took a downward turn after COVID at Fender, because I've ordered several of the American Vintage, 2 of the American Vintage. I ordered American Vintage Stratocaster 2. An American Vintage 2 Telecaster. Actually, I ordered 2 American Vintage 2 Stratocasters, and every one of them had a issue. 2 of them had to be returned. One of them I should have returned, but I didn't realize the issue until like months later, and that was that for the Strat, they put the backing plate on it so that you can't change the strings. The holes for changing the strings with the backing plate don't light up unless it's strung up to tension. So you have to change them individually. Really dopey, boneheaded mistake. And also, it's got a spot on it. I had 2 of them. It's got a spot where it's overly buffed. It's kind of burnt. It's not burnt through the finish, but you can see it's like, it's really dragged to the finish and kind of screwed it up. It could be kind of probably sanded out and buffed, but it's like...
Well, do you remember at that time, Fender got rid of an entire shift, I think.
Oh, I know. They do, from my understanding, they do what is sort of it's kind of the go-to thing for corporations to trim back employees, and that is you trim back your highest paid employees, and those are the people at a place like Fender or a guitar manufacturer. Those are going to be the people with the most experience building instruments.
Right.
So of course you would I think they would see it coming that quality is going to suffer if you're taking the jobs from your most experienced employees, if you're getting rid of your most experienced employees. I mean, I don't have any inside knowledge on this, but there definitely did seem to be a change in quality.
Yeah, it was immediate.
After that.
You saw it. You saw the change. Because I remember you showing me some of the stuff on that blonde ash-bodied Strat where you just shook your head. How couldn't they be selling a guitar for, I think that was between $2,200 and $2,500 guitar, and had glaring issues. But I guess for Fender, that's really, if they're selling a guitar for $2,200, that's, a pretty low tier instrument in a way.
Yeah.
I think as a buyer, you don't think of it as a low tier, but
so I think your chances of getting a good quality used guitar that's prior to COVID, or kind of actually some of the stuff within COVID would seem pretty good. You know, that they were manufacturing. I think you're going to get, you got odds of getting a decent guitar. So, and there's so many used Fenders out there.
Yeah.
It's like if you wanted one, you could get a used one. No, you would not have any trouble finding one.
Well, I guess that's why Fender bought Reverb.
So does that answer the question as to whether or not they have too much power, the influencers?
Well, I think that the jury's still out on that. I'm waiting to see, because I think they do have, we talked about that, and I think they do have some, they are fairly powerful, but it'll be interesting to see if they have the kind of industry power, if they can sway enough people. But Rhett Schaal makes the case really that the PRS Silver Sky is the thing that he feels that the success of that instrument has driven this entire, cease and desist letter and all of the actions that Fender has been taking over the last.
Yeah. Now I will say,
months.
I have an SE Silver Sky. It's a very nice guitar. I really don't have any complaints about it at all. But I do think that the pickups in them, in the SE, I don't have a non-SE, but my understanding is that there's a difference between the two. They stray from the classic Strat formula for pickups in a way that doesn't sound bad, but it does. It is a sort of thing where it would not, for me, satisfy that need. I think the Silver Sky USA made one probably would, but it's I suspect they're made with 43 gauge wire for the SE, and they have I think they've done a little trick where they put steel slugs in the kind of between the magnets to I assume that's to increase the inductance of the pickup and make it sound fatter. But my feeling with 43 gauge Strat pickups is because the Fenders what are those two pickup guitars that we make a set for?
Oh, the lead two.
The lead two. The pickups that were in that guitar, stock from Fender, were 43 gauge wire, and it takes away some of the attack that you expect. Oh, that's right. I sold you one of mine. That's got the ThroBak pickups in it.
That's got the ThroBak.
Yeah, it takes away some of the 43 gauge wire in that style of pickup. Takes away some of the attack that I think you expect and want from a Strat style guitar.
Is that a 43 gauge in those ones?
No, I changed those. That has our set in them.
Right.
It would have come with the original pickups in it had 43 gauge wire.
43,
I'm pretty sure. And anyway, so this not that the SC Silver Sky is a bad guitar. It's just that it's not. It messes with that formula a little bit. That does make it sound different. Okay, should we have one final one?
Sure.
Will we ever see another guitar hero on the level of Eddie Van Halen?
Well, that would be the thing. I would say no, because it would have to be somebody else. Maybe we're seeing it right now with those Fleck and what's his name? Fleck and Flack, the Engine de Poitvin.
Yeah, but think about it.
If another guy came, if another guy like Eddie Van Halen came, you would go, well, Eddie was better. Eddie was the original. This guy's okay, but he's not as. It would have to be so kind of like, what is going on? Because Eddie kind of blew people's minds when he first showed up.
Also, the guitar was much more of a pop culture iconic object then than it is now.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that in order to have another guitar hero that has that same impact, the guitar has to have that same level of popularity as a pop, sort of iconic pop object. It's definitely not there at the level it used to be.
You think it's coming back?
I don't know. I mean, the truth is probably, a good percentage of our customers are people who either remember that era or are enamored of that era. True. And, that's why they like the ThroBak pickups, because we make pickups of that era. But like your kids, guitar is not anywhere near as important to the kind of pop culture for your kids or my kids as it was when we were kids.
Yeah, no, it's changed, it's shifted, that's for sure. But it's still there. It hasn't gone away completely, but it's
now
different.
This is sort of related but unrelated. I stumbled across a few days ago these bootlegs of Van Halen are showing up from very early on. This was I think it was 1978 Ipswich.
Oh, really?
And they're really good live. Like sort of I think my first actually seeing them live was what's that big festival that they did, and they were not very good.
The US Festival.
The US Festival.
Yeah,
they were not very good live.
I think they were drunk at the time.
Yeah, something. I think that's the verdict, that they were drunk. But but if you listen to this Ipswich 1978 one as an example, they're really great. And the interesting thing I find about it, if you really listen to it, Michael Anthony is actually pretty darn good bass player, and he's holding it together in a lot of this stuff. Because Eddie Van Halen is very fluid with his playing, but he's playing ahead on purpose a lot of the time of the beat.
Right.
And then he's putting all these very complex runs and, sort of dive bomb things that sound great into the song. But Alex Van Halen sometimes goes a little astray with the rhythm. And if you listen really carefully, you can tell that Michael Anthony really does kind of like offer continuity through the thing.
Right.
And that he's playing complex lines that are counterpoint to what Eddie Van Halen's playing. And it works because sort of from the records, you don't think like, oh, that's the thing you're listening to. But when you listen to them, is the bass part. But when you listen to them live, you're like, wow, he's actually got a pretty tough job holding that together. Michael Anthony does.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's a good singer.
Yeah,
all the harmonies and stuff. So,
and he does pull it off, and he's pretty solid with like playing fairly complex lines that are keep the keep the rhythmic continuity through the song when the Van Halen brothers might stray a little bit. So when it allows them to stray a little bit, and then without it, it's still sounding fairly tight. Anyway, okay.
Well, he just played. Michael Anthony just played. He's playing with Sammy Hagar, but they just in July or I think early June they played 2 nights at Pine Knob in other side of the state, sold out. So you had Joe Satriani on guitar, Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony. I can't remember who was playing drums with that outfit, but they put on 2 really good shows apparently on the east side of the state. So still doing it.
Okay, Matthew.
Going to go to your Rorschach.
So this week I'm going to do Rorschach riffs, and the guitar's right here. No drum roll needed.
No drum roll needed.
No drum roll needed. That's right.
No, I can't see. Have you already changed the screen? I can't see it, but you.
No. Yeah, you don't get to, so, but that's right. You don't get the benefit of actually seeing the what I'm going to play here. Okay, but it doesn't say Rorschach riffs, but you get the idea. Everybody watching this is Rorschach riffs, and I'm going to be playing. Okay, now Matthew.
You got four riffs. How many riffs?
4 riffs. Now I may be duplicating one of these. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I may have done one of these once before, but
that's okay.
Forgive me if that's true. But
we will.
So there's a little bit of a theme to this.
Okay.
I am going to play 3 of the 4. There's 3 of the Rorschach riffs that are basically the same riff, but variations on this theme for 3 different well-known songs. These are all blues related.
Okay.
But it is a triad that is associated with 3 different famous blues songs if you're at all into blues and guitar heroes, you should know these. So I will the 4th one is a wild card, but also a blues song.
Okay.
All right. Let me just make sure. Now these do have different keys. So this is the first one, Matthew.
Go ahead. Okay. Got it.
You heard that?
Yep. Very good.
Okay.
Very distinctive.
Second one. Let me make sure I have it. Okay. This is the second one. Now there's a little bit of variation to it. Oh, by the way, these were all played by guitar heroes.
Okay, they're all heroes. Okay.
These are all Guitar Hero licks. The original recordings of these, all of these have recordings, studio recordings by Guitar Hero. So the first one is, the second one is, or, okay.
Okay.
That's so
2.
Through the song, this will vary from like, or through the whole song.
Gotcha.
Okay. Third riff is same triad, but this is more of a riff in that this moves around.
Okay.
I think I'm playing at the right key here.
Play it again if you want.
I think I got the right key here. Wait, let's see. Well, okay, I may have the wrong key on there, but let's try it this way. Okay. 4th one, the wild card.
Wild card. Go ahead.
Is let's see here. Let's see. Is that? I'm afraid if I give more away, it will totally give away the riff.
I think I know what you're. I think I know what you're doing.
We'll reveal a little bit more of the riff. That's.
I think I know what that is.
Let me go through these again.
Go ahead.
First one is famous song.
Right. Yeah, I think I
played
by
two. In fact, not only is it a famous song, it's a famous song played by two different guitar heroes.
Okay.
One version of this song has to start it. The other one doesn't.
Right.
Doesn't have it in it at all. Same song though. The second one is associated with a famous guitar hero. Third one.
Yeah, the third one, the second and the third one, they sound really familiar. And
it may be. I think the key may be.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah,
that may be. Okay, last one is.
Okay.
Again, not that triad. That's the wild.
All right.
All right. Do you feel you have enough info?
I have enough info. I think I don't.
Okay.
I think some of them going to have trouble with. So go for number one.
Okay, Matthew. Who is?
That's very good. It's distinctive. It's Peter Green, Black Magic Woman.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac. That's right.
And Santana's the other version I was thinking of.
Okay. Now, the next one. Or
no, you're not doing anything tricky where it's Peter Green again or something like that.
No. It's a totally different artist. This is a signature song.
Is it
for not the first person to record this, but this is a signature song for a female blues artist singer, and the studio recording is the guy playing is a famous guitar hero.
Oh dear! Now you threw me there. I was thinking
he's kind of an under the radar guitar hero, but absolutely a guitar hero to the guitar heroes. He is the guitar hero of probably one of the most famous guitar heroes.
Okay, so this is the number two. Is it like a Chicago chess recording?
Chicago recording. I assume chess. Yes.
Okay, so is it Hubert Sumlin?
Nope,
not Hubert. So is it like one of the guys like Otis Rush? Or,
nope.
Magic Sam then?
Nope.
Oh, so it's not Muddy Waters though. It's not.
Well, now remember the version I'm playing here is a version by a famous female blues singer. I think song is most associated with her, but this is not the first recording of this song.
Yeah, it's one of those
by Willie Dixon.
Okay, it's a Willie Dixon song. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's buried in there.
Imagine a sort of a tic-tac bass in the song.
Okay. Yeah, it's too much information.
This is the song we do, Matthew.
It's okay. That's even worse then. So is it? I'm not going to get it.
Okay, it's Wang Dang Doodle.
Oh, it's
Buddy
Wang Dang
Doodle. Buddy Guy's playing that.
Oh, Buddy Guy played that.
Buddy Guy is on the recording.
That's Buddy Guy doing that. Wow.
Yeah, he's better at it than I am.
His Buddy Guy.
But I mean, he does all sorts of variations on that. through the whole song. Okay. The last one, do you want to hazard a guess? It's...
Oh, no, what about number 3?
Oh, number 3. Oh, that's right. Number 3 is...
Again,
this is a song written by the Guitar Hero version of this is not written. This is a song originally written by I guess he's maybe a Guitar Hero to the Guitar Heroes also. But the one that this is associated with a very famous Guitar Hero from a seminal blues record.
So is it the Beano album?
Yes.
Eric Clapton. Then shoot. Play it one more time. I don't think I can think of the name of that darn song. But...
Okay, here's another riff from...
Oh, darn it. Now she's just driving me nutty. Is it like Missing All Your Loving or Loving?
All Your Love.
Is it called All Your Love or All Your Love?
I think it's called All Your Love, but it's All Your Love I Miss Lovin'.
Yeah, All Your Love. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I've screwed up the key there. The Otis Rush version is in a different key than the John Mayall version. Okay, and
I think the last one, if I'm not, you want to play it? Is it Born Under a Bad Sign, Albert King?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Well, next week, hopefully, Matthew, you will be doing this, but
relieve you of your duties.
Okay. We're going to go to musical musings.
Okay.
All right. And let's see. You've got musical musings.
I've got
and
musical
I have a little, it's not, well, I don't know. It's a musical musing, but I've got a musing. So Paul, do you want me to do mine first?
Go ahead. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So last week, Paul and I were at a special event, and at this event, we premiered the podcast on Saturday. You know, it's pre-recorded. We premiered on Saturday, and from this event, I actually was able to comment about, the viewers watch it during the premiere, and I was able to reply to those during this event from my cell phone. And in there, I said that Paul and I were at a special event that I would reveal next week. Now, this is not a pickup related or guitar related event, although they had a sort of a mini big band there. This is here's Paul and I at this event, and my son Chris, whose hand you saw last episode. He's still, I managed to get a picture of him, and he probably doesn't know I'm putting this on the show, but he'll be okay. So we are at the wedding for my oldest brother's niece. Well, so now you may ask, my oldest brother's daughter, my niece.
Right.
Yeah. Boy, it's confusing. So Paul, I have not said this before because it didn't seem, Paul is a pickup winding expert in his own right. But my history with Paul is that I have known him since forever.
Right.
Because he's my nephew. He is the son of my oldest sibling. This is my sister Anne. And he is the son from her first marriage. Right. And so now Paul, I've always known to be like really precise about anything he does. So, but anyway, he was years ago. He was a bartender at a hip bar in town here. He was a manager for it.
Manager.
He was a manager of it.
Right.
And he kind of like thought like, well, it's fun to be a manager at a hip bar, but I don't know if I want to be a manager at a hip bar forever. And he, so I said, hey, well, I do photography. He knew I did photography work. I said, would you like to do some freelance work as an assistant? He said, sure. So he did that and did great at that. And at the time I was starting the a ThroBak, and I thought, well, I know this guy is already like very precise about. I mean, as a kid, he was precise with how he played with toys, he'd arrange all the Hot Wheels cars by color and stuff. Anyway, he's a very precise guy. So I thought, I bet he might be good at some of the precision work that at the time we were doing effect pedals, and Todd was helping me with that. Todd is officially the first ThroBak employee. So, but anyway, so in addition to the photo assisting, he started doing some of the ThroBak stuff and was very good at it. And it became a full-time job for him, and he has grown with ThroBak, with me and everything else we do here, and that is the history with Paul. Let me show another picture here. But anyway, we were at my oldest brother's wedding, or not wedding, his daughter's wedding in Illinois, and here's a picture of my three kids. That's Sarah on the right, Julia, and next to her, Chris, Paul, and Paul's daughter, Rihanna.
There you go.
So
you're trying to
he
tell
also
me
has a son, Noah. It's not in this photo,
right.
But let's see. Let me get back to. Let's get back to where it was there. So anyway, that's a bit of amusing. But so anyway, so you know how they say, like the Everly Brothers were so great because in their harmonies, because there's a familial thing going on with harmonies. Maybe one reason that ThroBak pickups and products are so great is that there's this familial harmony with Paul and I.
Possibly.
Maybe. I think it must benefit the ThroBak customer.
I think it does.
Anyway, that's an interesting tidbit for anybody who made it through the show to this point. But just know if you're talking to Paul, you're talking with a guy who's been here, not only from kind of the very beginnings of ThroBak, but also has a history with me that is very unique.
Yeah.
And offers a level of trust and sort of like confidence and ability that I think it's hard to get with anybody, but it's it's serendipitous that I could get that out of that sort of level of skill and attention and trust out of a family member. So anyway, I think everybody benefits from that. So okay,
and now people will understand why Paul is the perpetual employee of the month.
He is, of course, he is the perpetual employee of the month. Sorry, Matthew, he's just will be that way.
You can't compete.
Okay.
Okay,
so I've derailed your musical musings, but
that's fine.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my musings. I don't know if you're aware of this right now, John, but this is Christmas in July right now.
Christmas in July. It was
explain. You know what that is? So I have a Santa sack here.
Uh-huh.
So when I woke up this morning on the local radio station, they were playing Christmas songs because tomorrow's the 25th of July, and it's 5 months until Christmas Day. So this is like Christmas Eve right now.
Okay, is this just an excuse to try to get a guitar? I mean, not that you need one.
Well,
I think anything should be an excuse to get a guitar.
I've known about Christmas in July for a long time, but I've never gotten a guitar out of it. But I thought it would be a way of sort of like maybe getting some gift ideas early. So I brought out a sack here. So I've got 4 different sort of ranges of gifts here. And the first one is for a music lover who may not be a musician, but likes music. So my first, and they're
are these gifts for the audience? Or are you giving these away at the end of the show?
No, these are gift ideas, like where you could get a gift idea. So the first gift idea is for a music lover who may not be a player of an instrument. Is you go to a vinyl shop and you get like a half decent secondhand record.
Now, what is this record?
This is Michael Parks, the Blue album from 1970. It was released on MGM Records, and it was recorded. It cost me all of $1.
Now, is there some? I'm not familiar with Michael Parks. Should I be?
Possibly, if you're like a Quentin Tarantino fan.
Give me an example of a song.
Oh, these are mainly covers on this. I didn't really even know that he was. I recognized him immediately. I didn't know he had some recordings. He made more than one record. Okay, but he's famous as an actor.
More than
a singer.
Well, let me see. You're kind of here moving around. I'm getting a little glare off of the. What are they famous? Are they famous? What would I recognize him in as an actor?
Kill Bill. He was two different. Characters.
I thought you meant like of that era.
Well, he was in TV shows. He was on TV shows in the late '60s. I can't remember the name of the darn show. Something Bronson. But he was a working actor. I think he's no longer with us. But I could pick this up for $1 at in the bargain bin. It's unplayed, like literally not a scratch on the thing. And I think it's actually deleted up here. So I don't know if anybody
it's got a saw mark through it.
It's got a cut. It's got somebody put a pen or something through it. But musically, for $1, you get 2 different sides. One was recorded in Nashville. One was recorded in Los Angeles. But some of the musicians on here, Jerry Reed.
Wow.
And on the Hollywood stuff, the lead musician is James Burton, so Elvis fame. So they're kind of country standards, Cold Cold Heart, and I think some of them might be some originals too. But for a music idea, you don't have to spend a lot of money, and you get something.
Where did you get it? Just I got this at bargain bin at a record store.
Yeah, at a vinyl record store.
Where was the store around here? Was it? What store did you get it?
I got to save that for another episode.
Okay.
I don't want to give that away because that's another musing. That's a whole other story.
Right, you got it. Okay.
So, then the second idea in my Christmas bag is an idea for bass players. My idea for bass players is, this is for me, it's kind of inspired by me. Change the bass strings on your bass guitar. It's a cheap, good way of.
Those are called nickel lowriders. Are these? Does that mean something? Are those pure nickel?
That's a good question. Nickel plated steel hex core.
Okay, what's lowrider mean?
I don't. I think it's this. It's just like a trade name that DR came up with. They're 40 to 100, but if you got a bass player in your
change your bass strings for the summer Christmas, or guitar strings too. ThroBak.
Well, hang on.
Okay.
Now,
you're thinking of everything.
Now there's a simple thing for electric guitar players. Pick up some different types of guitar picks. This is a set of Tusk. I guess they're known for making the nut material.
Yeah.
But they've got a series of various different types of thickness and sizes of guitar picks, so you can get a new tone or different feel for your instrument, and it's inexpensive. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I have an opinion. I have a strong opinion about guitar picks. I think I did not become I think I was limited as a player until I found the right pick.
You thought it was holding you back?
I have not asked. I suspect this is the case with most guitar players that have been playing a while. I would bet you if you ask guitar heroes, not that I'm a guitar hero, but I'm going to bet that there is a moment by which they realized I have to use this pick. So for me, it is the cool pick with textured cool pick, the gray one, because I was where the heck
do you have one there?
Yeah. Now there's a Dunlop version of these. I like the texture that's textured, and but I like the shape and the texture of this one better. And there's also the Herco picks, but I realized I was just like that over time playing. I was the pick would just migrate as I played, and I was clutching the pick to try to avoid that, and it was affecting my playing. But having a grip on it for me, and also this is sort of a nylon material that's kind of like you'll get kind of chewed up that drags on the strings in a nice way. It's perfect for me, I find, for everything. It's flexible, but it's not super thin. So maybe you haven't found your perfect pick yet.
That's true.
But
there's so many different types.
Yeah,
there's so many types to choose from.
But I think finally discovering the right pick for me made me a better player because I got to play more relaxed. I think it's a huge deal, honestly. Not that it has to be this pick, but I think having the right pick that you recognize, the grip. I highly advise a grip. I think for a period, a lot of people use these big triangular picks. I think part of that is too they could grip them without. It's a bigger sort of like platform to grip, so you didn't have to clutch it so hard. But I think playing relaxed is very important, and having a pick that you don't have to grip so hard sure helps me with that. Okay, sorry, Matthew. Go on with your musings.
Well, just to finish what you're talking about picks, I think on an earlier episode, I brought in a small little fishing tackle type box. It maybe has 12 or 14 compartments in it. And when I would go, if I bought nothing else in a guitar store, I'd pick up a few picks and just put them in there and just use it as something, to try, because you never know what's it going to be like. Is that going to be too heavy? You can hit. It's hit and miss, but it's a cheap way of just figuring out what's best for you. The last item is for acoustic guitar players who might want to try to improve their tone. And I thought, what better way than a nice set of ThroBak.
Well, this would go for any guitar, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, these are for acoustic.
Yeah.
But we have electric strings as well.
I will highly recommend, too, the ThroBak Pure Nickel strings, hex core and round core for electric guitar. One of the few machine wound pure nickel options out there.
Right.
And they used to be a standard. But, okay. Is that it for the musings, Matthew?
That is all for my musings this week.
Okay. All right. So we did it. We have
just gotta cross your fingers at it.
We have gone through the whole show.
That's the whole show.
What should the theme of this show be for a thumbnail?
Creation under duress, maybe.
Or some. Oh, okay.
or nothing changes but the location, maybe.
Yeah. We'll think of something. I need something for a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Okay, so but from this, I think we've determined one thing. I need to get you a microphone that you can plug into your laptop it worked pretty well, except the sound quality can be improved, I think.
Yeah.
For these occasions. But the mics we use, they're USB, and I think where I'm using the XLR on this, but it's got a USB too as well. So that should work.
Right.
Oh, bumped it there. Okay. Hold on. Let me turn the music a little bit up there. All right, Matthew. Thanks for being part of this experiment today.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for everybody for watching and listening.
Tune in next week.